live.
Elas. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now, especially if you're out there in Greece. You are locked in until the point with
Skip.
And the King. Shout out to my man right there, Andrew Reece from the Reece Report. Reece, it's great to have you back on the show, man. We extend our condolences. Man, we have nothing but love for you on your tragic loss. It's absolutely been a pleasure to have you back on because we've been waiting for you. Right?
I'm back.
Yep, you got to take your time, man. So all I got to say is, Giannis interés. And if you don't know Greek, if you can't speak Greek, that means Giannis is a beast. Telling you guys right now, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks on their win. They're the first NBA team to ever win a championship in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, 1971 and now 2021. Yeah, it's absolutely been great. Giannis's resume is just absolutely phenomenal. 5-time All-Star, 5-time NBA, All-NBA, 2-time MVP, and most improved player he won. Now he has the finals MVP. Now he has the championship. And he has the Kobe challenge, where he asked Kobe, "What'd I do?" And so Kobe said, "Win the MVP." And then what he did, what did Kobe say? Next, win a championship, and he did. I'm pretty sure the Mamba is looking up from up there, just loving it right now. Him and Gianna, it's absolutely great. And speaking of Kobe, the hell are you talking about with that Kobe Bryant, Devin Booker comparison? What the hell is that? Devin Booker, give me that baby. I'll take Miss Jenner any day. Okay? Come on now. So, Andrew Reece. Yeah, I'd have fun trying to do it. I would. Andrew Reece.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the finals? Because I know you've been watching this intensely. I know that's what you've been doing. So, what are your thoughts? Because I know you have some very good key points, and I'd love to hear them.
So coming into the series, I thought that the Suns were very fortunate because they got to beat 3 teams without their best players. Davis, Jamal Murray in the playoffs, I believe, is better than Jokic and was their key player for them to win in the playoffs. Proof of that is last year when he and Mitchell went at it. And also they got to play the Clippers without Kawhi. I don't think they're winning any of those series. Maybe Denver, but they're not winning any of those series. I mean, I think the Clippers would have swept them if Kawhi was there. So having said that, they get there. And Skip and I talked about this. Like, all we hear about is CP3. And to me, Devin Booker was the key to this series. And he started off hot. He started off hot. And then he had a horrible game 3 where he had 10 points. And the entire series changed on 2 horrific turnovers in the last minute, both by CP3 and by Devin Booker in game 4 and game 5. That's when this series changed, because I thought the Bucks would win game 3 fairly easily. That's usually what happens in the NBA after the first 2 games are won by the home team. The home team comes back in game 3 and wins game 3. It's just typical of what happens. The first 2 games were owned by Phoenix because they outshot them from the free throw line in the first game and then had 23s in the second game. Now, after those first 2 games, I had the Bucks to win this series, and I was pretty confident even after Phoenix lost the first 2 games because of the difference between the 3-point shooting and the free throws was not going to last forever. And the Bucks were out rebounding them, so I thought if they use their size, they'll take over this series. They also weren't getting much out of Holiday and Middleton, which they just need to contribute a little bit. Holiday was still really bad in the series, but they got enough out of him. And then Mr. Greek Freak needed to make his free throws, which he did in game 4 and 6. And that was a big reason why they ended up winning this series. He was incredible, as everyone knows. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to try to make this quick.
50 points and those 5 blocks last night? Oh, my goodness. Go on.
Brutal coaching by Monty Williams also contributed to the result of this series, because it was the opposite of what Nick Nurse did when the Raptors took out the Greek Freak. He decided to let Giannis play one-on-one against Aiden the whole series, and that was the Suns' undoing, because they didn't put a wall in front of him and make him force him to take jump shots. They played one-on-one, and that allowed Giannis to take over this series. If you look at yesterday's game 6, they got nothing out of Middleton, and they got nothing out of Holiday. They were 10 for 31, and Giannis put up a 50-piece, and the Suns lost. Booker wasn't very good, especially from the three-point line, and CP3 looked a little tired. He was turning it over a lot, and they let Giannis basically win this series by himself almost towards the end of the series. And to me, that was the biggest difference. They decided to let Aiden take Giannis, and it didn't work out too well for them. He made his free throws, and that was the difference in the series.
Skip, what are your thoughts on these NBA Finals? By the way, thank you, Andrew, for your analysis there.
Yeah, I mean,
good point.
I think Andrew kind of hit it on the head. I think Giannis just being this beast, taking over the series, is what the Bucks needed. I said after the first two wins by the Suns, I said basically the Bucks' only way to win this series is for Giannis to just go supernova. Because just looking positionally, just looking at the starting lineups, I felt that Phoenix had the advantage at every position except for that 4 spot, 5 spot, whatever you want to put Giannis in. I think he absolutely was the difference in the series. I mean, obviously he was the difference. He's the MVP, but I think that was something that Phoenix just couldn't account for, especially after Saric got hurt. I think they just had no answers for Giannis. And you kind of look at their roster and you say, like, what? Before the series, you said, what are they going to do about Giannis? They have nothing they can do about Giannis. Like, yeah, you can throw a big on him. You can throw Crowder on him, bother him a little bit, but like, they don't really have a way to deal with Giannis. They can't handle that Giannis problem. And I think it was interesting. Well, the thing about his free throws is, you know what happened to make him make those free throws is that he didn't have 20,000 people shouting at him while he was making those free throws. Amazing how well he shot in Milwaukee compared to how he shot in Phoenix. It was completely different players.
Yes.
Anyway, just for the overall overview of the series, I think that it's really interesting because you kind of have a team in Milwaukee that has been there before, been through the wars, really struggled to advance. Oh, here we go. Really. Wow, that's a lot of $100 bills, right?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
You got a team in Milwaukee that has really struggled to win games in the past, to win series in the past. Really fought in the playoffs, got knocked out in the second round, the first round. They've been there before. And you got a team in Phoenix that just hasn't been there before. And I thought kind of what you saw in this series, it's kind of like that typical, you think of like the boxing analogy, or I like to use a pool analogy, where you got this young up-and-comer who just comes out swinging, and they're just laying waste to everybody. And as one punch hits, the next punch hits, it just keeps going. It's spiraling. And like, they're good as long as they're hitting their punches. As long as they're landing their punches, they're unbeatable. But as soon as you get up against a vet who can kind of slow you down, throw a wrench in your gears, play a little defense, throw you off your game a little bit, they got nowhere to go. And so what Milwaukee was doing in this series, they were being that veteran. They were being the team that tied you up, that ground you out. I think early on in the series, when it was still looking like it was leaning towards the Suns, one thing that I noticed is that Milwaukee was getting a lot more possessions. They just weren't shooting very well. But they were doing all the little things, like you said, like they were rebounding, they were forcing turnovers. And that's not a recipe to win for the Suns. Like, for the Suns to win that way, they have to be hitting every single shot. And they kind of were in the first 2 games. They were we say young teams are front runners. They were front running. And once the tide turned a little bit, they had no way to fight back against that. They didn't have that experience. So that's where that whole concept of like experience wins championships, that's where you kind of see that actually play out in this series. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Drew Holiday they put Drew Holiday on Booker, and that changed the series as well.
That was actually funny in Game 5 because that last play, the alley-oop to Giannis was almost mimicked the movie Above the Rim. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, but it was like somebody put it up online and it mimicked it, like play for play on that steal. Now, guys, I got to give Giannis a lot of credit. Gotta give him a lot of credit. Skip, you and I spoke about this the other day when it came down to Dame Lillard, and it's all about loyalty. Giannis, his first game, he was running to the arena, and some couple saw him running, and they said, "Aren't you Giannis?" And they put him in the car, and they drove him to the arena in Milwaukee. He's been nothing but loyal to the city.
Wait, when did that happen? I don't know that story.
His first game. It was his first game.
First ever game? Or first game this year?
First game ever. His first game again with Milwaukee.
Okay.
Then he went to, right after that, he took all his money. He sent it to Greece, back to his family. Shout out to Peter, my man. You guys out there, I know you guys love this. Okay? Tikanis Malakas. I know you guys live 5 minutes away from where Giannis grew up and the court that he played on. He sent all his money back to Greece. You got to love that for him, right? Like, he was broke. He actually, he got his parents to come over to Milwaukee, and he got a 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bedroom for his parents, 1 bedroom for him, while he's making millions. You got to respect a guy like that. And that's what I call loyalty. And when it comes down to it, I'm a stickler for loyalty. So, Troyes Kata, LeBron, okay? How many teams did you have to leave? How many teams did you have to leave? You didn't even want to be on the Toon Squad, and you couldn't even do anything. I put myself through hell watching that movie. I don't even know what it is. Okay, the decision, leaving Cleveland, this and that. You're not Kobe, Dirk, Duncan. You're not these players that are winning championships on their team. And now I'm putting Giannis on that pedestal by staying with the team. I see you guys out there. You guys talked a lot about Chris Paul moving to different teams. He was traded. He didn't have a choice. These guys had choices. Giannis made the choice to stay in Milwaukee. He could have came here to Toronto. He could have got a place on the Danforth, and I would have cooked for him, But it's all about loyalty, and that's why I respect this guy so much, because what did he say?
I don't know.
What did he say?
He said, it's my city. I couldn't leave them until I brought a championship home. That's what he said.
Oh, yes. I remember that now.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. Yeah.
He actually said, I could go to a super team and just do my part and win a championship. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way to do it, and we did it. We effing did it. I gotta tip my hat, give him a lot of credit on that one. I really respect his loyalty for the Milwaukee Bucks and a small market team to actually win a championship, because I hate seeing this going from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, going to LA, all this stuff, joining super teams, KD going from OKC, whatever. And let me get into another player. James Harden saying, if I was 7 foot, yeah, I could just dunk all day. He didn't just dunk. Last night he dunked on 3 people, but he was hitting his shots. So don't get me started on these guys and loyalty, because where did Harden go? from OKC to Houston to Brooklyn. Don't question that. I got to respect Giannis Antetokounmpo with that. This man right here.
So
Skip, I got to ask you. What do you think about when it comes to loyalty?
I mean, loyalty is cute. It's a nice word we use. I mean, it's sweet that he did that. Like it's always nice when
Shut up, I'm loyal to you.
when a player sticks around. But like, can we just praise Giannis without slagging every other player that's made another decision in their lives? Like it's such big business, basketball, that this concept of loyalty and staying loyal to a team, it's kind of dumb on a certain level. Like, obviously, yeah, we love our Lowrys, we love our players that stick around, but there's so much going on in the NBA behind the scenes. There's so much we don't know. There's so much more that goes into it than just being in a big market or a small market. It is annoying when teams
banana boats.
It is annoying the way that guys will just go to LA or go to New York. Don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot that goes on the players' minds where it's like, yeah, I'm going to go be a free agent somewhere else because I need the sneaker deal, because the salary cap is suppressing my salary. So there's a lot that goes into it. Anyway, that said, all big ups to Giannis for doing it the way he did it, and winning that title. I'm not going to say anything about Kevin Durant's foot being too big, but we'll just leave that conversation for another day.
Yes. I got one thing I want to ask.
What do you think about that?
And one thing I want to ask Brian, but I'm going to start with Skip. So this is now the third time. This is now the third time that Chris Paul has blown a 2-0 lead in a series, and before that, it was the third time that he'd blown a 3-1 series lead. So can we stop with the Chris Paul is the greatest leader in the NBA, and actually, like, what do you have to say, Skip, about Chris Paul not getting it done when it matters most?
I think it's Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and Doc Rivers who are on all those lists.
Yes.
And DeAndre Jordan.
Yes.
DeAndre's on a couple
Jordan,
too.
Yeah.
Again, I just come back to most of the time he just ran into juggernauts. And the thing with a little point guard is we've kind of seen it with Lowry. Like, little point guards like Lowry and Chris Paul, they can't be the guy. They have to be the glue piece, the guy that sticks everyone else together. So I think it's gonna hurt his legacy for sure in the public eye.
Yeah.
But I think it doesn't change the fact that he's an all-time player. Like, he's still a great point guard in the history of the NBA.
Right.
You could say, if he won those titles, people are going to regard him a little bit higher because rings culture and all that. But he's still a great player, whether or not he gets that title. Just as Lowry's a great player, whether or not he got his title. It's just that little feather in your cap that he's not going to have.
Okay. Now, Brian, I got a question for you now.
Bring it on, baby.
I've been a long time. Here's my question for you. Is LeBron James becoming Drake or Champagne Papi by showing up at these games, and showing up for friends to cheer him on? And, what's going on there, Brian?
You guys know I am not a Raptors fan because of the ambassador. Let me tell you, this guy did not show up for one Raptors game this past season. But where does he show up? On the play-in game with Golden State versus the LA Lakers. Where does he show up? At Bronny's games. Is this really your ambassador? Like, how egocentric are these guys? Seriously. And I watched, we were all in the group chat the other night when I was watching Space Jam, the new one, and I told you guys, I can't even stomach it. It's just like having LeBron just slapping you in the face about how great he is and all of that. And there is no substance to the movie. Like, Skip, you're a writer. I'm a writer. You know how it is. There was no substance to it. And directing, there was nothing to it. It was just horrible. These two, I cannot tell you how much they relate to each other. And especially, Drew, since you brought that up, man, I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna call that out. With LeBron at Bronny's game, where the announcer said that the kid gets fouls because who his father is. That's facts. That's facts.
Is it also a fact
because
that
they're pushing the kid?
Is it also a fact that Chris Paul lost because LeBron was there?
Did you see that? Him sneaking in a bottle of tequila. My man, you snuck in a bottle of tequila.
I think LeBron can afford bottle service. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, he should be able to, right? And it's the NBA. They'd be comping him on it.
I think it's time to
sneak in a bottle.
I think it's time to retire. I think it's time to retire the banana boat.
Get rid of that banana boat. Let it sink. Poke a hole in it. Let it go down. I'm done with it. Melo ain't gonna win no ring. Only Wade and LeBron won a ring. I don't even care about that. But guys, Reece, thank you for being on the show. We love your hot takes. We love your hot questions. We got nothing but love for you, man. And I still cannot extend this enough. Our condolences to you and your family.
Thank you
for your loss. We appreciate you having you coming back on. Send my love to your wife and the little man.
Yes.
But more importantly, guys, go down there, click subscribe, click like, let us know what you think. Go click on Andrew Reece on the Reece Report on Facebook and on YouTube. You guys can find Skip, Dougie J's on Twitter, SimonBroder.com. You guys can find myself, King Hussein, on all social media platforms. You guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, To The Point Raps on Twitter, YouTube.com/To The Point Podcast. So guys, you let us know what you think about this topic. And God damn it, Reece, you got me riled up.
I knew I would.
So on behalf of all three of us, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.